All right, the red light is on. It's Tuesday at 1 p.m. Eastern time. That's only one thing to be doing right now. Fight Banana Show. Dave Van Auken, top left. The ruthless one, Elle Dawson. Elle, how are you?
I am doing great. How are you guys?
Doing phenomenal. Loving it. And underneath, someone we've talked to multiple times in the past. So happy to see her back. Karisa Maxwell. Karissa, how are you, friend?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you guys? It's so good to see you.
Been too long.
No.
I know, for sure. It's I remember those Starbucks coffee in Washington D.C. Was it Washington?
I think so.
Atlanta? I don't know. They all mixed together, right? Crazy.
Yeah. We have to like reference the outfit I wore, and that's where I remember what city I was in.
What leather?
Leather was San Antonio. So yeah.
A lot of leather.
There you go. Well, I'm so pumped. It's UFC 313 week. We will jump all into this card. I was just talking to Elle off air. I am so dang excited. I love this card. You have a main event. To me, that's can main event any card. This could be a main event of UFC 300, International Fight Week. To me, it's the perfect matchup, kind of the one we've been waiting for with Alex Pereira. So much to talk about there. Then there's just awesome matchup. Gaethje and Fiziev, Jalen Turner and Ignacio. Not going to try the last name, L. I'm not going to do it. And
Baja
then say it again.
Baja Mondays.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
We got Bobby Green and Ruffy. So we got some great matchups for sure. But what we do this past weekend, Karissa, let's start with you. You were actually at a live show. I cannot wait. We have Island Fights Friday in Biloxi. I'm driving in 36 hours from now, so I cannot wait to get out there. But you were at a show live. There's nothing like live MMA, Combat FC, very friendly with us here at Fight Bananas. So how was it, and how did that come to be, by the way?
It was so much fun. It was my first time going to a regional MMA promotion event.
Yeah.
And I got to say, having been to PFL fights and Bellator fights and the big pomp and circumstance of the production, the energy at like a regional MMA fight is unmatched because you've got like the one fighter sold 90 tickets. So I'm pretty sure his whole high school graduating class was there cheering him on, right? Like it was just so energetic. And the fighters are so scrappy and hungry. There was a few making their amateur debuts and their pro debuts. So they have so much to prove and they did not hold back. Every fight was so exciting. I had so much fun. And actually it all came to be because a friend of the show, Miss Carly Connors, who put me in contact with the people over at Combat FC. She, made the connection and they invited me up for the fight to make some content, interview some fighters. And I just had a blast. It just felt so good to be back in action, dust the rust off, and watch some really good fights.
I love regional MMA. It doesn't, I always say this, like, I don't know how far I will get, we will get, Fight Bananas will get. I have no idea, and just keep on riding on this train. But there's nothing like, I feel like regional MMA. And sometimes like when you say it, it almost gets a like bad like vibe, like regional MMA. But it's funny, like in any other sport. And I think, Chris, I know you're more of a football person than Elle. Elle did have a great football analogy last week that I had to cut into a video, by the way. But in football,
I don't even remember what it was.
Remember, you were offsides. You have to call the flag. If you get a penalty, you got to call it. Yeah, I
false start. But yeah, same thing.
False start. It was so good.
It's all the same to me. I know like 3 football terms.
You nailed it, Elle. Where I was getting is like in a big time football player, if you're Arch Manning, like you go to the best high school, we know you, then you go to one of the 5 biggest schools, if it's Texas or Penn State or Ohio State, you go to these mega schools. In mixed martial arts, the best fighters in the world, Pantoja, right? And Ilia Topuria, the best fighters in the world, Dakota Ditcheva, like they fight in regional MMA in front of 150 people. Like that's just how you start. Like there's no college program for MMA. There's a little, but it hasn't really taken off yet. And who knows if it will ever take off. But like that's how you get there. Anderson Silva, George St. Pierre fought in regional MMA. It's just how you get to one day the UFC or PFL or whatever. It's pretty wild if you think about it.
Yeah, I mean, that's how I was explaining it to my friends and family who we're still working on getting them to be MMA fans. I'm like, it's like a farm league, it's the farm system.
Yeah.
And especially Combat FC with them being on UFC Fight Pass, it's a great way to be seen by the UFC. And the co-main event, Damian Nelson, I don't know if you saw, he had like a killer walk-off knockout that just like I was sitting there cage side, and the video I got is just funny because you could hear me and their social guy being like, like screaming because it was just so exciting. But, you know, he right there in the cage called out UFC. He's like, I've won, I've defended this belt. I want to go to UFC. I want this next step. And, you know, that's a possibility. So it's really cool to be there for not as even necessarily like the beginning of their careers. Some of these fighters, they've been journeymen. They've been doing this a long time. They're just waiting for that shot to be noticed. And again, they're out there proving themselves. So it was, I had a blast. I had so much fun. And just like I felt the same way with PFL and Bellator, but the one thing about the MMA community is it is so unbelievably welcoming. Like as someone who's not a fighter, who does not have a fighting background, who literally did not know a single thing about the sport coming into it, everybody has embraced me, welcomed me with open arms. They're so kind, so friendly. It just made me feel right at home. So I'm so happy to have, you know, been a part of that.
It's so funny you said that. On our socials, we put a picture of you on our IG stories and said to ask away. There was probably like 15, 18 ones in there. A lot of them are crap. It's social media. It is what it is. But there was 5 good questions that I took. I'm like, that's a good one. One of them has to do with you fighting Karissa. So we will get into that later in the show. So I thought that was phenomenal. That's a tease in the industry, we might say. One name I do want to throw out your way that I saw that was there. I think we've been talking about him for a while. His brother, Charles Rosa, was in the UFC. He was at Game Bred Meriduckle. I met Lucas there. So that was the first time me met. And they're South Florida guys mostly, I think. Yep. But he's like 5-0, 6-0? Am I right? Yeah, he's close. What is he?
He's 6-0 now.
Yeah.
So that was his win. All of his wins have been by first round knockout. So he's incredible. And like, speaking of a welcoming community, Charles Rosa was one of the first people when I got there, when I got to Boston. I've never met him before. Beelines walks up right to me, introduces himself, and he's like, thank you so much for being here. Let us know what you need. And, you know, he's telling me all about the GFL and his fight coming up in LA. And he was just so awesome. And Lucas is great too. I met Lucas's twin brother, met the whole family. They were incredible. And Charles was like, next time you're in South Florida, come train at the gym. I'm like, okay. I'm going to come embarrass myself.
Training things already, Chris. We're 8 minutes in the show.
Yeah, so Lucas is like a UFC contender for sure.
Obviously, you had one of the best seats in the house. Dave, bring Elle to Biloxi for I can't go, Chris. I would love to. I can't go. Grant isn't even here. Grant is in Las Vegas, cornering our very good friend Francis Marshall on UFC 313 this weekend.
I'm so excited for Biloxi, by the way. I have never been. It's at the Hard Rock. It's such a nice casino/hotel. The food's amazing. Oh, I cannot wait. Like,
Dean could just do it at the better Hard Rock that is 30 minutes from my house. That would be awesome.
That would be good. That would be good.
Anyway, back to Karissa, back to Combat FC. Obviously, you had the best seats in the house. You posted a couple of times about it. I was like, oh, this is going to be awesome. Did you end up getting blood on you, first of all?
I did. So I not on I didn't notice it because I was like, oh, I kept checking. And then in between the prelims and the main card, I ran to the bathroom and I had like a little speck right here. Like, it was so tiny. And I was like, oh my God.
Technically, you did get blood on you.
I did. But I cleaned it off. Don't worry. It was funny. One of the fighters who's also a coach for like several of the guys competing, he saw that video I posted on Instagram about getting blood on me, and he DM'd me and he's like, if it makes you feel any better, we've all been drug tested and cleared and had our blood. I'm like, yeah, I know I'm not going to like get anything. It's just still not, it's not great, but yeah, no, I get blood on me.
It's the principle. I do want to ask you about one specific fight. So I actually had a teammate on this card. We haven't even talked about the main event of Combat FC. Victor Diaz just won Combat FC's. I love Victor. He is the nicest guy. He just won their bantamweight title this last weekend. And we were talking about, 6-0, getting shots in the UFC. Victor's 13-4, which is quite a lot of experience for the regional scene. Tell us about that fight and your take on it, and maybe where we'll see Victor next.
I am obsessed with Victor Diaz. Like, I love him. First of all, like, little side story. Again, I get to Massachusetts. I'm a little nervous because I don't know anybody, right? I'm like, I'm starting fresh. I have to introduce myself to all the fighters. Victor Diaz's coach Gabriel Oliveira, who's Renan Ferreira's coach, American Top Team. He saw me and he was like, Karissa, and came and gave me a hug. And he's like, this is Victor, and introduced me. And Victor gave me a hug. And I was like, oh, we're best friends already. That was easy. We're good. We're cool. He is like the most down-to-earth, humble guy. Like I fell in love with him right away because he was so sweet. And then that fight happens. And Carlos Lozoya, he's no joke either, right? Like he was defending his title.
I like Carlos. I've talked to him a couple times before. Good guy too. Like really smart.
I don't know if you saw the interview I did with him, but he's like so polite, like overly polite, that I'm asking him questions. I think he's a military guy too. And
Chris, if you posted it, I watched it 3 times. Okay, we watch all your content. We at Fight Bananas are Karisa Maxwell fans. All right, come on now.
Thank you. I appreciate it. But it was funny because part of the interview, I asked him a question. He was like, "Yes, sir. I mean, ma'am. I mean, I'm so sorry." I was like, "It's okay. Okay."
Yeah, that's Carlos.
He's so great. So I was like torn because you know me, I've told you guys, like I am such a bad sports fan because I'm so emotional. I like fall in love with these fighters and these athletes. And I'm like, I just want everybody to have fun. Like, don't get hurt. So I was really nervous going into that fight. And it was a great fight. Like it was mostly on the ground, a lot of grappling happening, but they really held their own round for round. It was kind of clear Victor was going to win, but to just see that genuine excitement when they put that belt over his shoulder, you would think he just won the UFC title. Like he was so excited. And then what really just won me over and even brought a tear to my eye was when he dedicated his entire victory speech to how much he loves his wife. I almost put Grant to shame, Elle. I mean, the Grant's speech to you about the dump truck is iconic, but this one... I was like, this is husband of the year right now. I am mad at my husband. He didn't do anything wrong, but he just didn't do this.
He didn't fight another man in a cage, win a championship, and then say he loved you. Come on, dude. Come on.
Get it together.
So we have to have a talk about that. But no, Victor was incredible. I was actually shocked because hearing that he trained American Top Team, knowing his teammates, knowing the caliber of fighter that he's constantly around, I was surprised to see him competing at Combat FC and not, on a bigger stage for one of these bigger promotions. I think he has the talent. He absolutely has the marketability. He has the best cage walk song I've ever heard in my entire life. I literally Shazammed it next to the cage and saved it.
Is it Portuguese?
It's in Portuguese. I have no idea what they're saying. It's called...
Doesn't matter. It's a vibe.
I have it. A vibe is an understatement. I've listened to it on repeat when I'm cooking because it's just, and I'm just dancing. I don't know. I'll find it. I was
gonna say don't play it though because I don't want to get a strike on YouTube.
No. I know. I was gonna play it. I'll find it.
No copyrighted material. Sorry.
But I'm already like, this is gonna go on all my playlists.
Okay.
He came out with his big teddy bear. Like it's just everything about him was just so damn likable.
He's a very lovable dude. He really is. Super good person.
Is he a bantamweight or could he be a flyweight?
He has made 125 before. I got to be honest with you. He is a massive flyweight. Like I don't know how he did that because he's a big dude for 125 and he's dense. Like he looks like he's just crazy strong.
So I was surprised by that because that was the one thing that was like a little strange is it was a lot of bantamweights and featherweights, and I felt very large next to a lot of fighters because I'm 5'9". so I was like just kind of towering down over all of them. So when I met him during weigh-ins, he had his hoodie on and he was all covered up and he's just a tiny little guy and he's so cute. And then when I saw him take his cage walk with his shirt off, I was like, oh, you are dense. Dense is like the word. Like he's short, but he is thick. And it did take me by surprise.
Christopher J has a question. We love Christopher J here. I cannot wait to see him on Thursday and Friday for the Island Fights. He's the Island Fights ring announcer. Best guy ever. 2 things though, real quick, Chris. One, we are not a GFL show, but I will ask the question. And then also it's Karissa with a K. Karissa with a K, just throwing it out there. But I will put up your question, Chris, because we do love you. But here we go. Christopher J goes, got to ask Karissa, what do you think of the GFL?
I've had so much GFL talk the past couple of days, especially at Combat FC. I love a good disruptor, right? I love the concept of bringing in new players, and I like seeing this second wind for a lot of fighters who we thought their careers were over, right? With that being said, I have so many questions about the GFL. Like I tried to be a big advocate for it at first because, I'm friends with Tyron Woodley and he had been telling me about it. I was so excited. And then of course he's like the ambassador of GFL. And, I'm seeing all of my friends and fighters that I've worked with over the years getting signed to the GFL. And I'm so excited for them that they're signed to this new promotion. So I tried to do some like explainer videos on it and I could not find any information on how the GFL worked and how. Yeah, exactly. And then I watched the draft and, I see, like Goldie, I love him. I worked with him at BYB. So good to see him back doing MMA and Alex Wendling, who's great. And, I'm again, very supportive. But the draft was fake. So
Chris, you're being way too nice. The draft was dreadful. The draft was I'd rather watch Supreme Patty put lemons into his eye. Okay, the draft was disgraceful to anything that is. Dude, I got young kids, Elle. I'm in the know. I'm in the YouTube vibe. All right.
Yeah, I watched fights with him a couple weeks ago.
Say again?
I watched fights with him a couple weeks ago.
With Supreme Patty?
Yeah, I had no clue who he was till I met him.
What? That man's a living legend.
I didn't know. He's really good friends with Johnny Evelyn.
Yeah, and Dusty Lampros
at his house, and he's a super nice. Patty's a super nice guy, and
great guy.
He got super famous squeezing lemons into his eyes, and I was like, cool.
It's like one day I'm gonna. Hopefully long time from now, and my kids will be talking about, I say this all the time, they do not care. I could be doing a press conference in Las Vegas, mega making history. They don't care at all. If I say, oh, I'm on YouTube, my kids think I'm like the biggest deal ever. They're like, they all tell their friends, hey, my dad's on YouTube. It's
Jake Paul.
I know, exactly. It's like, if you make it. So that's that. Yeah, we had Supreme Patty at Island Fights.
Cool.
That Eat Warm song, was that the song, Chris?
Now I gotta look it up. It was I can't even. Okay, so it's
People
by
are into it.
Yes, it's by Five Mentes by Mick Davey and Mick Pedrino.
Yeah, I gotta look that up. If you can send me the text it to me afterwards. I definitely gotta vibe it. Vibe check.
I will.
Sure.
No, it started playing and it was like a rally cry type thing. I was like, oh. Yeah. And then he walks out with his teddy bear and I'm like, this is for me. This is my moment.
Back to me bashing the GFL just real quick. I talked to someone in the know and someone in behind the scenes, very high up in a high organization. And they're like, hey, if you're offering all this money, right? And Goldie's not cheap, Karissa. Brendan Schaub is not cheap. Tyron Woodley's not cheap. That the show itself was something that my kids could have put together for the GFL draft. It was just it was such crappily made. Am I wrong on that? Did you watch the draft? It was bad.
No, you're not wrong. It honestly looked like very little went into the production of the draft.
I watched it. I watched the whole thing. Yes, there could be some improvements. I'm giving grace because I appreciate what they were trying to do, right? I appreciate that Darren was trying to okay, let's make this more mainstream, make it more like the NFL draft and have this whole theatrical go to the podium and have the analysts break it down as if they didn't already know. I think it was before the graphic was leaked of all the teams. Yeah. Darren came out and he announced the Miami team or whatever, and he forgot to say Yoel Romero. And Goldie was like, oh yeah, Yoel Romero was also drafted. So I was like, you guys all know. You were able to prepare, you knew.
And not even that. It wasn't even just that. And that's a big part. That's 80% of it or 60% of it. The other percent, just how it was done, how it looked and everything of that nature. It was just, I don't know, just absolutely crazy.
The AI was a little disturbing. I was like, but it was funny because I'm watching it. I'm like, this is a little weird. But then I'm on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, and people are like, the AI is so cool. I'm like, maybe I'm just not cool enough to appreciate.
No, it's not that.
Yeah,
here's my thing.
Okay.
Regardless of what they're trying to do, what they're trying to do is nonsensical, because the NFL can have a draft because they have teams that are based in certain cities, and all the players are going to then move to those cities.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers, when he goes to New York, he goes to New York.
What on earth is the job of the coaches and the managers? Because I don't think they even know at this point.
They don't.
And are they going to make ATT be a host gym and everybody that's on Thiago's team? Of course not. Has to move there? Like, of course they're not going to do that. So it's like, of course the draft is ridiculous because this is an individual sport. There's no draft for tennis or golf because there's no teams.
As the co-host of this show it's an Alex Pereira UFC pay-per-view fight week, I have to get off the GFO. I can't.
You have to get off it. We beat it to death every time.
So bad. It's
so
so
bad. The one thing I'll say to close it, to just put a cap on it,
yes, ma'am,
is what bothered me the most out of all of it is that the day of the draft, there were fighters posting that they had signed with the GFL and then were not drafted to the GFL. Right. So they were using fighters as a marketing tool, and that I did not like. So that is my final.
There were fighters that weren't actually signed that the GFL posted was signed, and the fighters went, huh?
Yeah. Absolute sham. Great question, by the way. Jake Nicholas goes, Karissa, spelled perfectly, by the way. Jake, shout out. Jake,
no, it's
who's
not.
taller, yourself or
one S?
Oh.
But close.
Jake,
close.
we cannot get it right, guys. I'm sorry. This is bad on Fight Bananas fans, people. Come on. Karissa, who's taller, you or Dakota? Consider Dakota supposed to be 5'8".
I am taller, but only by like an inch. I'm 5'9". So yeah, but we're really close. Except it's always funny because she's tall too. For last year the women's flyweight division, she was the tallest fighter. And on fight night, I always wear like 3 or 4 inch heels, which is really funny when the women fought because they fought in the same card as the heavyweights. So I was still shorter than all of the men, but then when I'm interviewing the women, I'm significantly like me next to Liz Carmouche is hilarious. She's just so fun size. But yeah, I got Dakota. I got a reach on her.
There we go.
I don't know if you've ever watched Invicta and you've seen Megan Anderson doing like post-fight interviews with the atom weights. Yeah. They're like almost not in the same like camera frame. It's great.
I thought we were done with this GFL topic, but the boss man himself, Dean Toole, goes, fighters under contract with us currently that are headlining those cards. Ooh, spicy.
Questions. So many questions.
I know. So many questions.
That they think are headlining those cards.
Classic. All right, guys. All right. We are done. I'm telling you, we got Alex. We got a Q&A session with Karissa coming up. Even the PFL will be in Orlando for a month next month. So a lot of fun stuff to talk about. But let's relax there, okay?
I'm so bored. I need events to go to. I'm ecstatic.
I know. I can't wait. I am really excited. I love the PFL at Universal. Maybe not a lot of people. If you've never done it before, you can't like put your face. It's amazing. It's one of the most fun I've had in years. It's a great show. It's so intimate, but it looks amazing. They usually feed us very well, so it's a great time.
I'm going to a different Disney park every weekend. Like I don't know about you.
What a life, dude. What a life, dude. I want those Fight Bananas people paying you well, Elle Dawson. Paying you well.
You're gonna buy my Disney ticket
again? Again? Oh my god. Hard Rock Friday. Oh yeah. Elle, where are you at Friday?
I can't go.
The boss man will fly you out.
I don't have anybody to watch my dogs. Grant's gone.
Dude, Taylor and Emmy would love the dogs at the house. What are you talking about? Put them in the back room.
Just all right. Bring them up and then drive to Biloxi.
All right. One fun thing before we get into UFC 313. We did it last week. We loved it. We're going to ask Vanessa Demopoulos, who, by the way, guys, will be live at 2:30 on the East Coast here on this very show. Karissa, it is exactly 1:25 p.m. right now on the East Coast. And if someone, it's the best and the possible thing and the worst. If you make a phone call right now and that person has to pick up, if they pick up, you would win $20 million. Who's that phone call that you're calling to right now?
Oh my God. Is it really sad that I don't even?
You forgot half the question. The other half of the question is if they don't answer.
Yeah, if they good point out. If they don't answer, you go to jail for a year.
Okay. My mom would absolutely pick up, but there's a very good chance she'll be like, I'll call you right back.
Oh, that's fine. That works. That works.
Okay.
My little brother was that he works during the day. He does that all the time. Like if he's busy, he's like, hey, bro, I'm busy right now. What's going on? Like just to make sure, like all the yeah. Elle was my second pick. Elle was second.
Sean has the answer is always 911.
Well played, Sean. Sean's
That's true. That's really good.
Sean
well
wins.
Played. So it's the answer is your mom?
The answer is my mom. It's always like she's so funny. She's always like a chaotic phone call, which is why I was hesitant to say her at first, because she's always got other calls coming, or she's in the car waiting for a Bluetooth pickup, or she's in the middle of a meeting, and it's never just like a hey mom, how are you? And it's just like there's always chaos in there somewhere. So, but I'm pretty sure she would answer. Always.
Very cool. Very cool. Elle, I just sent you a text. Check that out. It's pretty cool. All right. Let's get into UFC 313. I am so freaking excited. Alex Pereira, who to me was the fighter of 2024, maybe their biggest star. The man can't do any wrong. But this is the fight. I feel like it's been brewing for over a year, maybe two. Like, this is the fight. It's like, oh, like he needs to beat Ankalaev. And I know he's beat Yuri not once, but twice. And then Jamal Hill at UFC 300. And then he just beat Roundtree, which was an amazing matchup, amazing fight. But this is the fight we all been waiting for. We get it. It's 4 days away. Elle, I'll start with you. How excited are you for this fight? Are you leaning a certain way? What's your synopsis, 30, 45-second synopsis right now on this epic, to me, main event?
Jillian and I talked about this Sunday on the Morning Brew, and I'm kind of with her where I feel like this is definitely Alex Pereira's toughest fight, other than at light heavyweight, obviously, at light heavyweight. But I still am kind of leaning towards Pereira. Yeah. I feel like Ankalaev has all the tools, but sometimes he's a little slow to put it together sometimes, if that makes sense. And I can see this having a lot of just time making reads, especially early in the fight. Both guys are dangerous, especially with Pereira's power. I feel like there will be a lot of that feeling out period. And I just see Pereira being able to land the bigger shots and it just to look a little bit more dominant when he lands. I think it's going to be super, super close. This is a very slight lean for me. I expect to see
the judges, or there's a stoppage.
No, I think this goes to the judges.
Woo!
I do. I think Ankalaev's super tough. I think he's hard to hit clean. And I fully expect him to get Pereira down at least once. But I don't know why. I just got a feeling that Pereira will be able to. I don't think he'll get finished on the ground. I think he'll be able to do enough to survive when he does get taken down. And I feel like he makes such good in-fight adjustments that I think he'll be able to make the right adjustments to stay safe, you know?
I've been hearing a lot this week, and we'll jump right to you, Chris, in a second. I've been hearing a lot. If they'd say finish, if right now they say, hey, the main event of 313 ends in the third round, everyone's like, oh, Alex won. And then I've been hearing, hey, if we go 25 minutes, a lot of people have been hearing media and you know, people in the space are saying, oh, Ankalaev is going to win 3-2 or 4-1. Do you agree with that or disagree with that statement?
I think both guys could win a decision here.
Okay.
I do. If there's a finish, I agree. It's probably Alex.
Okay.
But I think he's going to land the bigger shots. And I think Ankalaev does a really good job staying, like he stays pretty long. He fights pretty safely. I think he's very defensively sound. And I think Alex will have to be careful because of the wrestling as well. So I see it being a little bit more drawn out. You know, I think he'll have to be a little bit more careful than he is. Like a lot of, like when Alex fights other strikers, he's obviously still very methodical. He's still very technical, but there's a freedom. Yeah, exactly. He can be a little bit more reckless once he finds those openings because
Right.
he's really only dealing with one piece.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to worry about that shot.
Mhm.
So I think this goes all 5 rounds, but I don't see Ankalaev getting a finish. I will agree with that.
Okay. Karissa Elle Dawson just does what she does. She slays it. Anything on the main event? What you thinking? What's kind of your vibe on Alex versus Ankalaev?
Yeah, I actually agree with everything else said. I mean, this is just a total clash of styles. However, normally when you see a Dagestani in the cage, you know what you're going to get, right? It's like all on the ground, and it could be a boring fight because it is very technical with the grappling. But Ankalaev is actually a really good striker too.
Really good striker.
Like, so
yeah.
I think the biggest point to what Al just said, it's going to be Pereira's endurance, right? Like, he can't just use all of his power out in the beginning of the match, because then if he gets on the ground, he's screwed. So it's really trying to delegate when you use those strikes, when you try to land it, to try to conquer not only, you know, his striking and counter it, but if he does get pulled on the ground. I also think it's going to go the distance. I think it's going to go to a decision. I love Alex, and I don't ever want to bet against him, but if it goes a decision, I think it's Ankalaev's fight.
Okay. I like both of that for sure. And Chris just put up a good point. I'm kind of here with this. I feel like Alex, like I've heard that a couple times too, like because he's like the knockout artist, usually those guys are not, cardio monsters. They're not Merab Dvalishvili. But I kind of think Alex is a little bit like he got stronger against Izzy. Remember when he beat Izzy the first time? It was like the 3rd, 4th round, maybe the 5th actually against the fence. His win against Roundtree, great fight, back and forth. And then like he just kind of kept going. He's a little bit like Merab, but just he's striker Merab. Like he's not going to ever try to, go on the ground, but like he never stops. He keeps going. He throws big shots. And I think Alex is to me he's like a shark. When there's a little blood, he hits the body, and kind of the fighter lets you know the body hurt. He's coming. Like he doesn't wait and see like I'm going to come later. He's trying to end the fight. I don't know. I know a lot of people that I like and trust, and it seems like a lot of them are on Ankalaev. Maybe call me casual, call me whatever you want. I'm on Alex until Alex loses. Like I'm on Alex. Like I just think that's what we're trying to overthink the room here. He is the best. This is his 4th fight in a calendar year. I think he's just more active. I think he's been in it, and it's just weird. I just like the momentum of Alex Pereira.
If he can get an early finish, I mean, I think he can. I don't ever want to bet against Alex Pereira. Like he's incredible, and I think that this is going to be like a true testament to just how talented and unstoppable he is. But yeah, this is a tough one. This is going to be like really, really close fight.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you.
What's on your phone now?
Huh? Every opponent that Magomed Ankalaev has ever taken down. So I can
how many
comment up here. Well, I mean, he out-wrestled Jan Kutelaba. He wrestled against Jan Blachowicz.
That's what I was going with, for sure.
Santos.
He was losing that fight against Jan.
Do what?
He was losing that fight against Jan, standing up, and then he wrestled him 4th and 5th round, and then took it over.
That's what I'm kind of saying. Like, I don't think he always uses it because, like Karissa said, he does also have great striking. And wrestling, when you're a bigger guy, wrestling can be exhausting. So I'm saying he'll use it if he needs it, but I expect him to wait, kind of like he did against Jan, to use it. And that's what I think may lose him this fight, is if he doesn't wrestle early and he waits until maybe he is down a couple rounds. I think it might be hard for him to get that ground back up, because I think Alex Pereira is a very difficult man to get your range on because there is so much danger. But
all right, so we got 3 Alexes. We're all picking Alex to win.
I'm leaning Alex. Like Karissa, you said you're leaning Ankalaev, or you just think it goes to decision?
I'm not leaning Ankalaev. I just think if it goes to decision, betting, but like no, I'm team Alex.
That's a good team to be on. That's a good team.
I know. That means
awesome.
it's too scary to be against him. No, I'm team Alex.
Hope we get a draw. Jan wins versus Joburg, first UFC triple threat for a light heavyweight title.
Shall we? Don is probably watching too much WWE right now. All right. And by the way, I know, Elle, you do not care about this one iota. And Karissa, this is probably going to go right over your head.
Send Dave great WWE memes, though.
Yeah, the best. Saturday night, it was like a big pay-per-view. Well, answer that question. That's a good one, Daniel. So on Saturday night, there's a good wrestling pay-per-view. My two boys are super into it, especially my second youngest, Dylan, like super into it. We're all into it. A big moment happened. One, they dropped an F-bomb for the first time. Like, they didn't beep it. They always beep it. They know it's coming. They just let the F-bomb go. So one, I had to tell my 8-year-old son, hey, that was a one-off, all right? Not again. Secondly, and I know you guys don't care, John Cena, the greatest American person of all time, Mr. Make-A-Wish, turned bad for the first time in 20 years.
I actually know about this, Dave.
I know.
That's
it's
how
the best
big
thing
it
ever.
is on Instagram.
It is everywhere, Elle. Like, ESPN talked about it. It's on Forbes. It's everywhere. It was the coolest thing ever. I was, so
you like it. You like John Cena as the heel.
yes.
Oh,
As
wow. A lot of people are upset about it.
No, you're a grown-up. When you get older in life, like, you root for the bad guy. Like, I don't want I don't like Santa Claus.
Dude, Grant and I went to medieval times like a month or so ago.
Root for the bad guy.
And our team was like the bad guy. And we were like ready to overthrow the entire royal family with this night at medieval times. It was awesome.
Yeah, so good. So
Did
good.
you guys see the John Cena show? I think it's called like Peacekeeper or
Yeah. Oh,
like,
yeah. So
yeah.
great.
So like, even though he's supposed to be the good guy, he's
a bad guy.
He's the bad guy because he's just terrible at his job. I hope he's that kind of heel. Like, I want that kind of heel for him. We're like,
and dude, that was a funny show too. Like, it was so
good?
yeah.
I'll be honest, I didn't give it a try. I was not.
The intro is so iconic. Like,
yeah, wait, you didn't give it one episode, Elle?
Not yet.
Wow.
Is it worth it?
It's so good.
Yes, it's worth it.
All right, I'll give it a try.
We missed.
I know. Like Santa Claus, Dave.
I know.
I'm gonna get a shirt that says that.
Dude, guys, you know how expensive Christmas is for 4 people? Okay, it is wild. And a wife, 5? You know how much? Oh my goodness! All right, there's so many comments. This is a great question, Daniel. This is the show. We'll get into it. Who's everyone's favorite fighter of all time? I'll start. We'll go me, Elle, Karissa. I got 2 favorites of all time. Maybe it's Homerish. That's who I am. I'm loyal to a fault. My favorite fighter, male fighter, Grant Dawson. Nicest guy you ever meet. Super funny, by the way, and very good looking. Favorite female fighter, Jillian the Savage Robertson. See her every week here in Fight Banana. So those are my 2 favorite fighters. Elle, how about you?
I'm going to not use Grant because I feel like people like want to know, besides my own husband.
Can you ever pick your husband one time? Can you support that man one time?
Obviously, Grant Dawson is my favorite fighter, encompassing everything.
Okay.
Who do I enjoy watching the most, besides my own husband, is probably Max Holloway, because I am absolutely nothing like him as a fighter.
That's awesome. Karissa, who is your favorite fighter of all time?
Well, as far as the women fighters go, obviously my girl Dakota.
Ooh, good answer.
Wait, was I supposed to pick both genders?
You could.
You go, Karissa. You go.
Well, Dakota. I am not going to answer necessarily the men's one as far as my favorite fighter of all time to watch, because by the time I started watching the sport, it was a little different, and now I have to see these guys all the time, and I don't want to make them mad. But I will say that Chuck Liddell has won me over. I mean, not only was he just like so much fun to watch back in the day, but he's such a character.
That's a good answer. That's a really good answer.
He's such a character, and he's just like the Iceman. Everybody knows, like, even my dad, who does not follow MMA, saw me interviewing Chuck Liddell. He's like, Chuck Liddell. So like, it's Chucky. It's my guy Chucky.
This is a great comment, Elle Dawson. I know you saw it.
Did somebody ask me who I hate the most the other day? It was Patty.
I cannot wait till this man, Patty Pimblett, beats Michael Chandler in 5 weeks.
I picked him to beat Michael.
And he is going to be the #1 contender for maybe the best division in all of the sport. And he is going to fight literally Topuria or Ankalaev this year. It's going to be crazy. This man might be champion.
Or who?
Machayev or
okay. You're talking about Islam. Sorry. I was like, that's wrong weight class. Yeah, and he'll literally, that dude might get a title shot off beating freaking Bobby Green and Michael Chandler. Which honestly is kind of impressive.
It is. I Break a Wish Foundation boys. That is so funny. Yeah, he's like the Mr. Make a Wish guy, and he went bad. It was so good. Travis Scott put some, dude. Yeah, the ring was epic. There's a picture of The Rock, who's like, my grandma knows who The Rock is. Everyone knows who The Rock is, right? He's just The Rock, John Cena, and Travis Scott. It's like epic. Chris's two favorite fighters,
Did
John
somebody
Jones.
Cuss out The Rock? Did I see that too?
What?
Is that what happened? Is somebody cussed out The Rock?
Yeah. Okay. So long story long. Long story. Karissa, do you have time? Can you keep staying with us, or you have to go?
I've got all the time in the world.
Okay. I love it. We'll keep rolling. This is the show, by the way. This is us. Long story long. The whole base of what on Saturday night was The Rock, who they call him the final boss. So he's like the bad guy now. He's the bad guy. He's legitimately on the board of TKO. So he uses that stroke, right? So he's bad. Cody Rhodes, who's like the nowadays Hulk Hogan or John Cena, is like Mr. America. He's awesome. Kids love him. Grown-ups love him. Moms love him. Dads love him. Like, everyone loves this guy. He's the best. He was supposed to sell his soul to The Rock. Like, that was the big thing. So instead of doing that, and everyone thought he was probably going to do it, he goes, "Hey, Rock, go F yourself." But he just dropped the F-bomb. So good. So funny. Greatest thing ever. So then everyone thought it was over. But John Cena was still in the ring. He hugs Cody Rhodes like, "Hey, we're cool, dude." And then puts a bad guy look on him, kicks him in the nether regions, and then beats him up, bloodies him up. So good. So good.
I did see a meme that I don't want this to come off as being like in poor taste, but it made me laugh as like a,
we love poor taste.
So it was it was a headline that was grammatically not written correctly that said John Cena surprises 7-year-old with cancer. And people were like, wow, he really did turn heel.
That's the best thing.
That's good. That's good.
I was like, oh
my gosh.
Enunciation's very important.
Very.
Commas.
My favorite female fighter of all time, Valentina Shevchenko. Dude, I'm not a big Valentina fan. She just never did it for me, like inside the octagon or outside. Even back, I liked Rose more than her. I liked Joanna more than her.
Most fun female fighter to watch though is Jessica Andrade by far. Most fun. The whole career, not the last 3 years, Dave. Her entire career, she's one of the most fun female fighters to watch. Her fight with Joanna was fantastic.
Okay, yeah. I'll try to find that somewhere on Rumble. Maybe
like one of the only girls with knockouts at 115. Like,
yeah, I've never seen 2 of her fights, so I'll try to catch that up on.
She finishes in 3 weight classes, Dave. She's
okay,
basically female Jared Cannonier.
Oh, you're right. I'll go on. I'll get my laser disc and I'll go watch Jessica Andrade fights. Okay. Gosh, I'm horrible. Grant about to have to beat Patty become. Wow, Grant Dawson versus Patty L.
Let's do it.
Wouldn't that be your most polar 100% husband, love of your life, future dad, future husband to your kids versus your future dad of your kids? Yeah.
Future baby daddy. Okay.
Yes, thank you. I talk for a living. Against Patty Pimblett, your mortal enemy. Oh,
dude. I don't even hate no, I really don't like Patty Pimblett.
I know you
That's
don't
like a fighter.
him.
I think he's probably a really good person. I genuinely do. I don't know. He drives me insane.
Yeah. Because he's this is if I could say, and I think I know you a little bit. I think people, because he is loud and he was overrated for a time. I think he's really good. I don't think he's ever going to be champ.
He's pretty good.
He's really good. And I don't think a lot of people, it's like a little bit of the Jake Paul boxing thing. It's like, oh, they don't give him any credit. No, Jake Paul's actually pretty good at boxing. He is pretty good. Not on Patty UFC level, but he's pretty good. So I don't know. I can't wait for that fight. Pimlet versus Chandler. We'll get to that later. We haven't even jumped on 313. The Rock is the final boss. It's very true. It's funny. McAfee yesterday said he thinks The Rock is so mad because the UFL is failing. That's very funny. Very funny. I saw that meme, Karissa, spelled correctly. Christopher J. Jessica Andrade is a good pick. Oh, my goodness, dude.
Thank you, Christopher.
Dude, Christopher's just, oh, God. He's sucking up, dude.
Our names are back. Now people can see how to spell Carissa's name.
Yeah. That was my fault. I didn't do that at the beginning of the show, dude. That was bad hosting by me. Bad hosting.
All good.
I don't know how to do that, so I can't even help.
It's 2 buttons, Elle. It's 2 buttons.
You've never told me which buttons.
All right, the co-main event of UFC 313 this weekend was supposed to be Justin Gaethje versus Dan Hooker. Dan Hooker with another bad handbrake to his right hand. He is out. Rafael Fiziev picked up middle of last week, Tuesday, Wednesday, when all this kind of happened. Dude, I'm excited for the fight. I think I like it more than others. Really pumped about it. The thing that I'm shocked about, and me and Grant talked about it last week when I had him on for a UFC card break. If you haven't watched it, go check that out. I am shocked that Rafael Fiziev, who they fought before 18 months ago, and Justin Gaethje beat him, and Rafael Fiziev hasn't won since, and he is the bet-in favorite over Justin Gaethje. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Am I first? I'm sorry.
Yeah, either one. Yeah.
Go ahead, Chris.
I mean, betting lines never make sense to me, so I'm not going to pretend to, but I love Justin Gaethje. I was working with WSOF back when he started his career, and we've seen him come so far, and he's another one of those fighters you never want to bet against. But similar to the last conversation we had, like, this is a tough fight for him, but unlike the main event where it's a clash of styles, these guys are both strikers. They both like to stand. They both got the good leg kicks.
Yeah.
This is an opportunity for Justin Gaethje to show off those wrestling skills that he doesn't necessarily use pretty often in the offense, right? Like, if he could get him on the ground, he can out wrestle him.
Pretty often? One takedown.
Right. Yeah. So like, I think he has an advantage as far as having a more diverse skill set. I don't know why he wouldn't use that. If he could get him on the ground, he could out wrestle him, he could win. But if he continues to just stand and strike and kick, this is another tough one where, like, yeah, I think there's a possibility that he could lose by decision.
Elle?
I'm surprised a little bit that Gaethje is a dog, to be completely honest.
Yeah. Shocked.
He's already beat the guy. I don't think long layoff coming off of knee surgery makes me more likely to favor Fiziev.
Short notice
makes me more likely to favor Fiziev over a guy he already lost to. And yeah, I understand Gaethje just got knocked out. This horrible knockout by Max Holloway, which I'm sure is what's devaluing Gaethje here. But Fiziev is not Max Holloway. Quite different styles. Fiziev's, I think Fiziev's short, right? Fiziev is short. Max Holloway is super long, throws a lot more straight punches. Fiziev is like big looping hooks. He's very explosive. And he is, honestly, I think the reason it was quite easy for Gaethje to get him down in the first fight is because he wasn't expecting Gaethje to shoot, because nobody expects Gaethje to shoot. So I do think it will be more difficult for Gaethje to implement a wrestling game if he decides to in this rematch, because if I'm Fiziev, I'm probably expecting it. And if we go back to Fiziev versus RDA, it was RDA is a phenomenal wrestler as well. And it was really hard for him to both take and keep Fiziev down because he's literally built like a bowling ball. So I think Gaethje is a little bit crisper, and he was able to do so much damage to Fiziev's face in the first fight. Yeah. Like, he was wearing it really badly, and he stayed really, really safe. So I think if Gaethje is any remnant of what he was the first time that they fought, I expect it to go similarly, maybe a little bit closer. Because I feel like he was fairly dominant the first fight, a lot more dominant than I expected him to be.
Yeah,
I thought Fiziev would be a really tough fight for him, but I think Fiziev has too much tell on his punches for a guy like Gaethje. Go ahead.
The number one thing that I will say on this, and then we have a really good question we'll jump on, and then we'll get into these Q&As with Karissa, and then we'll if you want to run, we'll let you run, and we'll kind of keep going down the card. Justin Gaethje's had this date on his calendar for 2-3 months, permanent black marker. And I know this is going to sound wild because Dan Hooker and Fiziev are definitely different, but striking, very, good strikers. It's not a Dagestanian wrestler or a BJJ black belt. You're kind of in the same gear. Rafael, and I don't know if you guys watch Embedded yet. Rafael Fiziev was saying he was literally laying on his couch, and his agent called him Tuesday night of last Tuesday, said, Rafael, pack your bags. We got to get you on a flight. And then he said he had to call his wife and make plans with his kids and all that. It's like, dude, that guy's going to be Justin Gaethje? On 9 days notice, you're laying on the couch. I just don't see it. I'm shocked. I don't get shocked often by odds. I'm pretty shocked. Really am.
And I think what Christopher J was saying, he's like, I think what the odds makers obviously assume that we're not going to see the same Justin Gaethje because he got knocked out by Max, which is, of course, a possibility. When it comes to a guy who's been around as long as Justin Gaethje, you don't really know when the end of his peak is.
So you think it could be a Ferguson thing?
Way down. I mean, it's possible.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not comparing him to Ferguson. I'm just saying he could be on the decline, I don't think he's fixing up to fight Dylan Dennis anytime soon, but he could be on the decline. He is older. He's been knocked out before. So it's a possibility, but I don't see it yet. I don't see this one knockout as him aging that much.
I totally agree. Good topic. I don't know about this, Elle. I saw it. I don't know what to come of it. Tim Nolan's supposed to be on a private jet by the UFC, getting them to UFC 313. I don't know what that means. I don't. So with Elle looking that up.
Sorry.
I think the odds makers.
I tried to open too many tabs and I felt my computer started freezing. So to the phone. Yeah,
a very, very long layoff.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. Jalen Turner. Ooh.
Talking about Tom Nolan?
Jalen Turner isn't making weight from our guy Christian, he thinks.
I don't know how Jalen Turner has ever made lightweight, and I would not be shocked at all if he misses.
Wow. Okay.
I'm shocked that he can make 155.
Yeah, he's humongous.
He is enormous. He looks like a middleweight outside of camp. He will stand next to other middleweights and look as big as they do. It's shocking to me that at his height he can make 155. I hope we don't lose that fight.
I know.
I'm really excited for it. I think it's gonna be really fun. I can't think of a single person that beats Jalen Turner in solely a striking match. But Baja Mondays is fun. He spins a lot. He's exciting. So either way, I don't think he can beat him, but I still think it's going to be a blast. So hopefully we don't lose that fight.
I love it. All right, Karissa, on social media, we put up on our IG, go find it, Fight Bananas Official, picture of you, ask a question. Like I said, a ton of responses. I picked 5 good ones. Some, I think, everyday life stuff, some MMA stuff. We'll ask you, and you can answer it in 5-minute form or 10-second form. It's your show, whatever you want. All right.
All right.
First question. They go, Karissa, what is the best and worst part about traveling for the fights?
So the best part is traveling, right? I got to go to so many places that I've never been to before and that I never would have gone to, right? Sioux Falls. Why would I ever go to Sioux Falls, South Dakota? But I went and I saw the falls and it was beautiful. It smelled bad, but it was cool. And I got to, mark it off my list. I'd never been to San Antonio, never been to Chicago, which is crazy. Loved Chicago. So that's just the best part. Seeing parts of the country, the world. I got to go to Saudi Arabia, amazing, right? I would never do that normally, not top 5 vacation destination. Worst part is packing. I am a terrible packer to begin with. And then because I'm on camera every single day, it's not like I could rewear outfits. So I had to pack 3 weeks at a time, and I'm constantly online shopping and trying to figure out and I know that sounds like such a girl problem, but it really consumed my life. Like, I stressed out more about what I was going to wear and what I was going to pack than what questions I was going to ask.
Okay, there we go. I like that. Second question, what is the best fight you ever saw live?
Oh, okay. Best fight I ever saw live is actually a boxing match. And it was the first fight between Anthony Joshua and Andy Ruiz at Madison Square Garden. I was ringside for that unexpected knockout of AJ. And I remember how I felt in that moment, like, and just looking and gazing across the audience and everybody just in complete shock, seeing the heavyweight champ go down and lose his belt to a guy who, subbed in just a few weeks earlier.
Right.
Like, that was just an unreal experience and something I will never forget.
I love it. Next question, 3 more left. They go, what is your absolute dream job?
I don't know. I get asked this a lot, and it's so hard because I feel like it doesn't exist. Like, I absolutely loved what I did with the PFL as far as, like, I got to do interviews. I got to do fun social content. I got to, be the in-venue host for the fights and engage with fans. I like being a Swiss Army knife. I like doing a lot of things. Obviously, if I could do everything I was doing with the PFL on a main stage, if you will, like on a ESPN broadcast, a TV broadcast, that would be the absolute dream. But I want to continue being an authentic storyteller, having fun with athletes, fans, regardless of the sport. To me, it's not a job. It's just where I feel most comfortable and I have the most fun. And who doesn't want to get paid doing something that they just truly enjoy and just makes them feel like they're their best selves?
Best thing ever, right? Best thing. Kind of fun transition because you said story, and this is the next one. It goes, what has been your all-time favorite story told through a fighter?
Oh,
that's a good one.
That is a good one. All-time favorite story told through a fighter. Man, I don't really it's sad that I don't have one that like totally pops to mind. I can think of the best conversations I've had where I felt like they were the most like genuine interactions. One of my favorite interviews of all time was when I interviewed John Jones right before he fought Cyril Gane in his heavyweight debut. And it was my first time ever interviewing him, talking to him. And he was just so cool with me. And, I was able to ask him about his checkered past, if you will, and the controversies, and he didn't shy away from it. And he was just very genuine. And I really appreciated that. So that's definitely one of my favorites. But as far as one of my favorite storytelling experiences where I was actually the one telling the story was when I was with Karissa Shields in Saudi Arabia. We were doing an interview for OnlyFans. And it was my first like formal sit down interview with her. I had done, like a few stand-up things with her. But she's like one of my favorite fighters of all time. So I had to tell her the story of the first time I met her when I literally thought my life was at risk. Because long story short, it was after the Anthony Joshua Andy Ruiz fight. DAZN had an after party. I was there. I went up to go get spicy margaritas, which is my thing. It's like big part of my brand is spicy margarita during fight week. And as I'm leaving the bar, someone shouted Karissa, or at least I thought they did. But when you're in a room with Karissa Shields, they're never calling my name; they're calling hers. it's very hard to hear. So I quickly turned around with my spicy margs, thinking I was being summoned. They were calling her, and she was right behind me, and I bumped into her and spilled my spicy margaritas all over Karissa Shields and her shoes. And my life flashed before my eyes. And I just stared at her and I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And it felt like it was like 10 seconds. In reality, it was probably 1 second. And she's like, yeah, okay. And walked away. So like, I'm just in there shaking and I'm looking out and, Andreas Hale from ESPN is like sitting there and his eyes are like, oh my God, like you survived. So this story has been like sitting with me, right? Like, and it's my favorite Karissa Shields story to tell. So I'm finally in Saudi Arabia with her. We're sitting down, we're doing an interview for OnlyFans. And I thought the cameras stopped rolling because we were done with the interview. And I was like, Karissa, I have to tell you this story. Like, this is something that is just like weighed heavy on me. And I'm telling her the story, and she is just like dying laughing. And she's like, do you know how many drinks get spilled on me all the time? Like, she's like, people spill their drinks on me all the time. I don't even allow, when I do meet and greets, I don't allow people to have drinks because they're always spilling drinks on me. And the cameras were still rolling, and I got the entire conversation on camera of me telling Karissa Shields this story and her just being like, just so awesome about it. So that was just that was like an iconic moment, full circle moment of like me being so scared of you. And now we're on OnlyFans together. So, you know.
Here you go.
Not like that, guys.
Yeah, I know. Fifth one, which is funny because you said the same thing. It's like you've been in broadcasting before. One thing always leads into another. They go, Karissa, would you ever fight someone else in the media space as like an influencer fight?
You know, I don't know. So here's my whole thing. And this is why I'm just so fascinated with fighters in general, right? I have trained with some of the greatest fighters of all time, right? Like, I've taken a BJJ class with Renzo Gracie. I have trained with Renan Ferreira. I've trained with Impa Kasanganay and Jason Jackson. And I've been at American Top Team, been at Killcliff. And I want to make it very clear, like, I'm not good, but I have been complimented by these fighters that, like, you know, if you stuck to it, you have really good kicks, or you've got really good strikes. I'm lengthy, man. I got that reach, right? So I've taken a Muay Thai class. Like, I know what I like. I like kickboxing. I like Muay Thai. I like boxing. I, at American Top Team, grappled with Josh Silveira, and Conan Silveira sat there and laughed at me and recorded it on his phone and was sending videos to Dakota Ditcheva laughing at me. So, like, I know that's not my strength. So I say that being like, I think I could train, and I could do it. I just don't love the idea of getting hit back.
Yeah.
Like, that's where I suffer a little bit. Like, I know I can beat the shit out of a dummy, right? Like, I can let all my aggression out, and I totally get that high, and I understand it. I just don't want to get hit back. So I think I need to overcome that fear first. And I don't know how to put myself in that position to be like, please punch me in the face so I can see if I actually want to do this.
Just train with other people your level.
Yes.
And go live. Like, that's what I can best suggest.
But I also think that if there was a media person, and I'm sure there are out there, none come to mind, which is a good thing, that I just did not like or enjoy, I think I could do it. I think I need that like personal factor in it. Like, I can't punch a friend. I don't have that fighter mentality. But if I don't like you.
Yeah. I did see Megan Olivo was trying to wear the same outfit you did. So I'm just throwing that out there. Okay.
How dare she? Okay.
There you go. That's how you start beef. There you go. All right. Couple fun things. One hit AJ. Yeah. Okay. Shaw Dog God MMA. We love you, dude. We'll answer anything. But I
have something for his original question as well, if you want to go back to that.
I want a second. There's not a lot of shows out there on this MMA space that will talk about unranked flyweight fighters. Okay. We are one of that show. We are that show. So I will still push this out here. Dude, it is what it is, man. Kai Asakura, like, he had a legacy. His legacy before UFC is one of the greatest runs, low weight fighter runs. So yeah, he deserves to be 14th. And that fight against Pantoja was awesome until he got stopped. Like, dude, Kai Asakura is really good. If they fought versus Joshua Van, Kai Asakura would be a heavy bet in favorite. Heavy. You said you had one before. Oh, whoa, Elle Dawson.
Huh? I think Kai Asakura being ranked number 14 is just definitive proof of why he should not have gotten a title shot.
No, I don't.
Losing a title shot and being ranked 14th after is wild. So it's like, but I understand why the UFC had to do it, because when you have somebody as dominant and incredible as Pantoja, and he's already beat almost every single person in the top 10, at the time, there were like 2 guys in the top 10. Now I think there's 4 that he hasn't beat.
Right.
Like, that's nuts. That's nuts.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. Joshua Van's, I like him. I like him a lot.
No, I like Joshua Van too.
I think
He's been on Fight Bananas
break into the
multiple
rankings
times.
very soon. And I testament to what you said, but there's a reason you had to say he has one of the best resumes in the lower weights instead of at flyweight, because his resume is not at flyweight. So it is very weird situation. And I just, yeah. Is Van ranked? I thought he might have been 15. Sean.
Yeah, Sean just put that up there.
He's 15, so he is ranked.
But I say it all the time.
Experience. Go on. It's okay.
With the UFC and in this space, the fight in space, we might see literally Tony Ferguson versus Dylan Dana. Sometimes we are maybe going to see Jake Paul versus Canelo. Like, it's not like the NFL. The NFL has a schedule. Penn State plays other teams, right, in the Big Ten. Like, I know, I'm a Buffalo Bills guy. I know who the Buffalo Bills are playing next year already. We don't know the dates. The schedule hasn't came out, but we know our home games and our road games. It's not like that in fighting. Is that a Bronco shirt?
I wore my Bronco shirt again today. It's a car. Dave got so upset that I wore a Broncos shirt, even though it's literally a shirt of the car.
Karissa.
A Bronco.
I actually think, you ready? Karissa will back me up on this.
I didn't even know they were playing the Broncos.
They were playing each other in the playoffs when it was the Bills versus the Broncos. I'm anti-Bronco that week. Am I wrong or am I right?
No, you're right. And Ella's right to wear that shirt to troll you and get you fired up for no reason.
I had no clue.
You might be right.
I don't know who's playing who ever. And I just like this shirt because it has a Bronco. No, I cannot name a single player on the Broncos. That's the irony.
Dude, this is unreal. Dude, the Bills, we have to be in big games. Dude, we've had some, but the last 5 years have been amazing. We've been AFC East champs. We played big games. Yes, I would probably give one of my 4 kids away for a championship. That is so true. But at least we're around. We're in there. We're in the discussion.
Honestly, Dave, I feel your pain so much because as a Penn Stater, right? It's so close.
So close.
I mean, like Ohio State to us is like your Kansas City Chiefs, right? Like it's just like, just can't do it.
Would you rather be Penn State or Illinois?
Penn State.
Right. Yeah. Like people say that all the time. They're like, oh, you're so close to you lose. Like, we're in these big games all the time. Like, it's awesome. Like, we have great runs.
I will say though, like I grew up a diehard Dolphins fan, right? I know.
All right. So Karisa Maxwell, guys, have her a good show.
I'm just gonna go, guys, because I don't know what's
But I gotta say, there is a little bit of peace in knowing that, like, yeah, we're bad. Like, I don't stress out over the games. I'm not like, like if we win, like that's great. Like, good job. I'm so glad you guys went out there and had fun and did your thing. But like, I don't get my hopes up, and it makes football kind of peaceful. Whereas during Penn State's football season, I am like taking years off of my life with anxiety. Yeah. So you know what? There is joy in having a terrible football team to be a fan of.
Very true. All right. Karissa, totally up to you. You could say bye, and we appreciate your time, or you can stay on. Totally up to you, friend.
I do have to bounce.
Okay.
Because I got somewhere to be at 3, and I gotta change. But I'm so happy to be here, and I miss you guys, and love talking shop with you. So thank you so much for having me on.
Of course, Karissa Maxwell, we appreciate you. The Q&As were awesome, and we appreciate your UFC 313 talk. We'll talk to you very soon, and we'll keep it up. We'll keep it going.
Great, guys. Thanks.
Awesome. Later. Karissa Maxwell. Dun, 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 boom, boom. All right, now. No more football talk, okay?
All right, no more of that. Okay, so Shah the God actually corrected Sean because Tamirov Ramazanbek, hopefully Ramazanbek, I don't know how to say his last name, he bumped Van out of the rankings. So Van is not ranked right now. However, he is fighting this weekend. If he gets a finish, they very well may rank him again. They do that a lot. So like Grant and Joel Alvarez went like whoop, whoop, whoop in the rankings for a couple months. It's pretty normal. Shah the God did have a comment earlier. I was just confused because he said Tim Nolan. Fighter's name is Tom Nolan. Tom Nolan did post. He is on a jet to Vegas. He's 9-1. So I would tend to think that he's probably not replacing Jalen Turner. Although Baja Mondays is not ranked, so maybe that's why they're doing that. But I apparently some fans were doing digging. We're doing some digging, and they saw that like no other. So out of the 3 lightweights that are fighting besides Fiziev and Gaethje, obviously, everybody posted on Instagram that week for fight week except for Jalen Turner. So maybe he is struggling to make the weight. That's kind of the speculation. The rumor mill is saying Jalen Turner's struggling to make the weight. Tom Nolan seems like an odd replacement for Jalen Turner. But
on a week's notice, that's maybe all you can get. 4 days notice.
Dakota Bush would have said yes. Just saying, they didn't call him. But obviously, somebody already on the roster. Yeah, you might be right. Maybe that's all they could get. Not sure. I'd be surprised if that's all they could get, especially in a division that has as many fighters as lightweight. And it's a, like, I guess if you're fighting Baja Mondays, you're not getting the option to fight a ranked fighter. So it's like, I don't know. I don't know what my thoughts are. I would think it would make more sense for him to replace like Rufy or to fight Rufy, but I'm not sure. Yeah. I'm not
and maybe they're hearing about a couple, and they're just bringing them in as like a backup for everything. Like
maybe
Fiziev is way off. Maybe King Green, just like, hey, get here. We'll pay the private jet, sign autographs if you don't fight, whatever,
Well, and it kind of gives them a backup plan, I suppose, with 3 fights on the main card, lightweight fights. If you have a lightweight there, so maybe that's what it is. I'm not sure, but that is what the basically y'all saying Tom Nolan isn't good enough. I'm saying he's been in the UFC for like 2 seconds.
Yeah, no, he doesn't make sense. He wouldn't get any of those matchups on normal notes.
Yeah, I'm not saying he's not talented. It's just doesn't make a lot of sense, but
for sure.
Yeah.
Real quick on something you just said about the Jalen Turner thing, and I think it's a real thing. I'm probably way too much. This is a bad take on me, maybe, or maybe it's like the most brilliant take ever. I said it. I remember when Volkanovski dressed old. I didn't like it. All that kind of stuff. When we interview the amateur fighters, I'm going to be in Biloxi, Mississippi. Pearl and I will be interviewing fighters, and it's funny, the fighters who like talk to you the most, or is excited, or it's like, hey, this is my training camp, blah, 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 blah. They do better than the ones that like don't have answers for you, or like are very like don't care about this. Like, dude, everything matters. Like if I'm going to post that this is the most important show of my life, like I'm going to say Vanessa Demopoulos' name correctly. Like I'm going to nail the show. If another big MMA source is watching our show at the same time, I'm going to try to do pretty decent, right?
Where are we going with this?
No, just it's the Jalen Turner not posting thing. I think that's a real thing.
No, I guess
it's a big fight. He should be on social media, very active this week, I think.
Oh, you're comparing that? I mean, sure, but here's the thing. Every fighter's different. Some fighters don't post on social media at all and are very successful. Like, I don't. Now, if you totally change something, that's a red flag.
Maybe 2.
All the guys who Ali runs all their accounts and they've never posted anything ever.
Wait. Someone runs the accounts and some stuff is getting posted, though.
Yeah, but that's not them doing it. Not everybody has Ali, like not everybody can afford to have somebody make their post for them. Like Grant
on this too, by the way.
But Grant's not super loud on social media during fight week. Is King Green a live dog this weekend? Yeah.
King Green, and I think you're going to take this the right way, can lose to anyone in the division, but can almost beat anyone in the division. He is like a scary.
He's an incredibly difficult guy to fight.
Bad fighter. Like he's a good bad fighter.
My one thing is I feel like Rufy probably won't wrestle him, So it's like.
Thank you.
Grant posts hilarious memes, but I'm just saying like, he's not super active on social media either. Like, he posts fight week, but not that. Honestly, not really.
Grant always posts the weigh-in picture. Like there's just certain posts you make.
It's not even Friday yet; it's Tuesday. Grant doesn't post on Tuesday. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like,
All right.
I think people read into that quite a bit too much. Like, I like when I fight again, I'm probably not going to post a lot. Is it because I'm not confident? No, it's because I haven't fought in 2.5 years and I just want to focus, you know? Like, I don't think those things are as comparable.
Right. You're probably right. You're probably right. Well, I'm going to be your Ali, and I'm going to tweet for you. Just like, my opponent stinks like rotten eggs. I'm just going to post wild stuff for you.
Ali. Let's go.
That's gonna be awesome. I've been called worse. There you
go. Yeah, Max Holloway is not super active on social media. He like posts with his wife once in a while. They're super cute, by the way. His wife is adorable.
She's beautiful.
Gorgeous. And she's
beautiful.
A surfer.
Yeah. Wow. All right. There's a topic I've been waiting to talk to you about, but it's like,
man. You never do. I'm never in Dave's favorite fighters list. He doesn't consider me a fighter. Thanks, Sean.
That's a tough.
Thanks, Sean, for that ammo that I now have.
Elle Dawson knows this, and I'll say it on air if it makes her feel better. Elle Dawson is one of my favorite people on this planet. We talk probably every single day, sometimes numerous of times a day. So she knows my favoriteism towards Elle Dawson. All right, Sean?
Anyway, carry on. Stipe is another one. Yeah, Chris is doing the. I love this. We don't need a producer because I have Chris to look stuff up for me.
I know, dude. Chris is unreal. He's
the wrong one. Stipe is another one. He's hardly ever posts on social media, even when he was at the top of his game. Ooh, 3 goats of the atomweight division.
Wow.
No, I'm kidding.
Who are your 3 goats?
Yeah. Let's see. Like active currently or just ever? Probably have to go. Michelle Watterson was one of the first Invicta atomweight champs, if not the first. Don't quote me on that. So she's definitely up there for me, and obviously went on to have a really, really successful career. Ayaka Hamasaki. I'm going to look up her record for a second real quick because it's like insane. And she's like 40 and still fighting. Ayaka Hamasaki. I know all the atomweights. I've been watching atomweights fight for a minute. Ayaka Hamasaki topology is 5-6.
Wow, that's a great record.
Great record, and she is 42 years old. And her last fight was last November. And
is Stamp an atomweight?
Who?
Stamp Fairfax?
I don't count any of the one championship fighters as atomweights because they've never actually made 105.
Okay.
So I don't count her. Also,
one. You have a beef?
We have a beef. Also, one like super protects her. They like protected her from this French girl that I think totally would have beat her. Anissa Mexen. She fights for that French promotion now. Aries.
Ooh, okay.
She's very good. The other one would have to be Angela. No, the number one female GOAT is Angela Lee. She retired. She beat Stamp.
Yeah,
like, she's the best. She's the best that ever did it at 105. She obviously lost her sister to suicide like a year or so ago, and then ended up retiring shortly after. So super, but she's incredible. Those are probably my top 3.
Very horrible. To kind of spin it into a good feeling thing. Hey, last week, Christian Turner, American Top Team, came on this show, went out there, nice finish, got a big win, called out the UFC. Good stuff by our guy, Christian Turner.
Yeah, and we'll have to have him back on. Absolutely, talk about the win. But yeah, he killed it. Super talented young guy. I'm super excited to see what he does. I expect him to probably. I mean, it's March right now. I think it's pretty reasonable for him to be on, maybe one of the first weeks of Contender Series. Okay. Or maybe he gets one more between now and then and is towards the end of Contender Series.
All right. All right. There's a comment. I mean, there's something I've been wanting. We're an hour 20 into it. So, Elle, through the news over the last 2 days, Tom Aspinall has been creating headlines. All the shows have talked about him. And I have a major stance. I'm sitting on this side of the fence on one of these things. He talks about like how he's waiting patiently. He's waiting for John Jones. He says he's ready to fight. Everything is holed up for John Jones. We know this all the time. There's only so many dates. Guys, we got 314 locked. We got 315 locked. 316, I hate to say it. We know it's going to be some kind of Pantoja, Kayla, like that thing's happening in New Jersey. Guys, 317, 318, probably a Makhachev, one of them. There's only so many dates. Like, there's only so many months. So Aspinall's like, dude, what are we doing? I've been on this. I can't let another person kind of like, and I'm trying to say this the best way. I don't know, and Elle, take it after this. I can't let someone else like run my career or overtake what I'm doing. Tom Aspinall was on such a roll. He should go out and say, I don't need John Jones. John Jones needs me. I'm going to keep fighting as the heavyweight champion. Everyone knows that's the fake title that they made up just for John to beat Stipe. I'm the guy who's fighting the top guys. I defeated Curtis. I defeated Papovich. He's defeated, who's the guy he defeated twice? He's running through the list. Just fight again. Yeah, dude, I love this. Jonathan Almeida said, yeah, Jonathan, let's fight early summer. Let's go. Forget John. If you I always thought it's almost like when you like a girl in the 4th grade, you don't come out and say you like her. You almost push her down and say, I don't like you. Then they're like her. I think he should just keep fighting people. And if John wants to get that itch and he's like, dude, this guy's pretty good. He's the champ. He will come back to face Aspinall. This is not going. What happened if he doesn't fight this year? He's literally wasted maybe one of the best years of his prime. I think he's doing this all wrong.
I get both sides of it. You are deluded, David.
I've been deluded.
David. I call Dave David whenever he's driving me crazy. I don't think Dave is saying that's necessarily the truth. He's saying that's the route that Tom should take.
Yeah.
Be the heel. Tom Aspinall is always this very respectful, like calm guy. And that's honestly not what the division needs. The division needs a character. It needs somebody to be that guy. And if he says that, whether it's true or not, it gets fans more excited about Tom Aspinall, because where it is right now, I agree. He does need John to cement his legacy so that there can be a heavyweight champion that people care about at all for the first time in a while, you know? And so if that fight doesn't like happen without Tom, Uncle Tom is not capable of rudeness. I'm not disagreeing with you, but he should be, because if he can do that, I think he can create a character that fans can get behind, especially if he does like, so right now, one of my teammates, she is currently the interim strawweight champion of LFA. She just got signed to GFL. So she's still the interim strawweight champion at LFA. The actual champion for LFA, the undisputed champion, has not fought in forever.
Who is it?
Like Natalia, I don't even remember her name. That's how long it's been. Natalia has defended the interim title like 3 or 4 times, and LFA still calls her the interim champion. Yeah. For whatever reason, they don't want her to unify the belt. For whatever their reason is, everybody thinks it's funny, and Natalia is the champ.
Yeah.
So if Tom just continues to defend the interim title, it makes John look bad.
It does.
Jones probably won't care because he's not coming out of whatever his half retirement that he's doing, unless it's for a ridiculous amount of money, most likely. But at the very least, it helps build a brand for Tom. So I don't disagree with what you're saying. I also understand waiting for that fight, because there's not a whole lot of other exciting fights for Tom Aspinall at this moment.
No, and I agree, but guys, I'm not saying he should be a bad guy. I'm not saying that. Just say, guys, be nice. Be like, John, I'm not going to wait for you. You're the greatest of all time. I'm not going to wait. I'm just going to fight. Like, if Tom Aspinall, like, guys, Alex Pereira, after he defeated Izzy, like, didn't have a John Jones looming. Like, John Jones left the light heavyweight division. Alex never mentioned John. He just kept fighting and fighting and fighting. It's like, dude, this guy's amazing. He keeps on knocking out the #1 contenders, and we love him. Imagine if we had a heavyweight champion. We would be like, we will fawn over Tom Aspinall if he goes out there and fights Almeida. And then I can't even name you another. Who's next after Almeida? I don't even know. Like,
no, let's look at the rankings, because I always have them pulled up.
And just like
Almeida's number 6. So you got Almeida's number 6.
Okay. Who else is up there?
All right. 1 is Tom. 2 is Cyril Gahn. 3 is Volkov. 4 is Pavlovich. 5 is Blades. 6 is Almeida. 7 is Spivak. You know, like that's the thing is I understand he's beat most of those guys already, but
he hasn't fought Volkov. Go smash him.
I mean, Volkov has been winning. Like,
yeah, just if he wins fights, like I just think like I know it sounds like Bilal Muhammad. No one likes him. The UFC doesn't like him. He just kept winning fights. Like if you just win fights, everything will take care of itself. Like
I don't disagree.
I just don't think him wasting. When you're older, when you're Stipe, sit out, wait for it. I totally agree. If it happens, cool. If it's not, not. Dustin Poirier, you're not going to fight every 3 months. Wait for the biggest fight possible. If it happens, happens. If not, you kind of maybe fade into the the beautiful light. He's in his prime. We are wasting Tom Aspinall, guys. Like I don't understand when we can just wait for this. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah. No, I get it. I get it.
Yeah, like, dude, even dumb stuff like this. If Derek Lewis gets one crazy knockout, call him out. Just start fighting. You might be right, Sean. Maybe he fought Volkov. Maybe he never fought
Also,
Gahn.
you're wrong. Yeah, he's already beat Blades. He's already beat Pavlovich. He's already beat Marcin Tybura. Technically, he hasn't beat Blades. He beat Blades. Sorry, I forgot about I just said that. Volkov. He beat Spivak. He has beat most of those guys.
So Gahn and Almeida are 2 guys. So that's this year.
Pretty much it. In the top six, those are the only 2 guys he hasn't fought. So make it happen. Yeah.
Yeah. Fight and Jones, let's just be honest, if he beats both of those guys, John Jones comes back in 2026.
Maybe.
So there we go.
I
know we got Vanessa Demopoulos joining in a couple minutes.
Oh wow, that went by surprisingly quick.
When you talk to this guy, knowledgeable about mixed martial arts, time flies out. Okay.
It's helpful to have Sean fact checking.
I know.
In that comment section.
Elle Dawson, who's your favorite person in the MMA media space?
I just absolutely love. I can't even keep a straight face. I was trying to decide if I should say Dylan Rush because I love Dylan Rush. Shout out to my boy Dylan.
Yeah,
or MMA Junkie.
Who?
No, I said or MMA Junkie. I don't even know anybody's name. Dave Van Auken is the best, guys. No. The best MMA media guy of all the guys.
Dude. Island Fights Friday night. Cannot wait. Dude, put the dogs up. We'll fly you out there, dude. Get the helicopter.
You want to pay to board my dogs at, what are they, $50 each a night? I will happily do that.
That's a little pricey.
Yeah.
Are you doing a Disney week on one of those weeks with Grant to Orlando?
Yeah, I think we are. I think maybe that second week we're going to try, and we're still waiting to plan it because my dad is coming at some point in April. So hopefully, we'll be up there. We're definitely going to do a Disney day at one point during this first round of PFL. So
dude, I can't wait.
2 Disney days. I think I'm just going to Brightline up there and Uber everywhere. The Brightline's only $39 from Fort Lauderdale to Orlando. So I can just take a train.
That's not bad. And yeah, and on fight night, if you want, I can just pick you up somewhere and we'll take you into Universal.
That'd be cool. I'm down. Bring the girls.
Huh?
Bring my girls to see Auntie Elle.
When they see you on YouTube, they go, "Oh, Elle."
They think I'm famous.
Taylor Finn thinks you're very
famous.
They share 2 more fights. Yeah, dude, I like Teixeira. How about the guy? Yeah, I saw another comment. Yeah, this guy.
Walker Pinto.
Yeah,
Mario Pinto getting a title shot. I mean, I could see him having a few more. You also have Johnny Walker's brother as well.
Yeah.
Walker. Why don't the UFC strip Jones of the title? I mean, because he's John Jones.
Yeah.
He's still. I gotta admit, like, I understand, as much as I don't like it, I understand why the UFC treats Conor McGregor and John Jones the way that they do. If you watch press conferences, there could be dozens of exciting matchups coming up. And if there's even a hint that Conor McGregor or John Jones might be fighting, that's all the media asks Dana White about. That's all people want to hear about, regardless of who else is on the upcoming pay-per-views, you know?
Rest in peace, Austin Lane. Wow. That was tough to watch.
First camp at ATT. I don't know if he's been here too long just yet, but
he was at ATT.
Yeah, this was his first camp there. I mean, I'm not in the gym a ton, but I only think he's been here a few months, maybe a couple months.
Wow.
So hopefully some time in the room with lots of real good heavyweights. Because obviously the dude's an athlete. He's massive. Dude. It like concerns me when guys that big hit the mat that hard. It like scares me.
It's devastating, right?
It's kind of scary.
It is, for sure. For sure. All right. Talking about someone who's devastating. How about a little monster? She's been doing phenomenal in the UFC, 5-3 in the UFC, does a lot of stuff, a lot of content with shows and podcasts and commentary. Can't wait to talk to her. Welcome her back on the show, Vanessa Demopoulos. What's up, Vanessa?
What's going on, you guys? How is everybody today?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing fabulous. Thank you so much. I'm right in between training sessions right now, but I made time for you guys because all love in the hood.
Love it. I appreciate it. Where are you joining us from Vegas then?
Yeah, I'm in Las Vegas right now. I train at the Performance Institute full time. And thankfully I live like really close. So it's nice to be able to be in between training sessions, like run home real quick and then go back and train some more. Yeah, it's a full-time thing for sure.
I got to say, Dave, every time we're in Vegas for one of Grant's fight weeks, the person I see the most at the PI is definitely Vanessa. She is always there working around the clock.
They should build me my own little room there, that would just be so perfect.
If they would build you a dorm, would you just move in?
Unfortunately, yeah. So it's probably good that they don't.
Yeah. Sometimes you need that space. You need that buffer. You need to get away to get back and all that stuff. But very excited to have you on. 5-3 strawweight fighting April 5th, I believe, back at the Apex versus a younger fighter. She's 1-1 in the UFC. How did that matchup come to be, and how excited are you to fight at the Apex? To try to get back on the winning side.
Yeah, no, I mean, fucking back on the winning side, right? Because I feel like I never actually lost that last fight, right? In my mind, I'm still on a win streak, right?
Okay.
Because that girl, she fucking cheated. She got caught in 4K cheating. Everybody acknowledges it. Even the commission has told me to my face, we acknowledge that you got wrongly fouled. It was really terrible, but they can't overturn the decision. And right. I'm like, why? Why can't you make this just a no contest? Please. You can see that I got cheated. And they're like, there's nothing we can do. It was the ref's discretion. And the ref obviously is blind. And so that's okay. That's okay. We're going to move on to the next.
It's pretty wild. And I know you said move on. I'm sorry that I'm doing this, Vanessa. I completely agree with you, though. If we have major technology, even if the commission's saying it to you, it's like, guys, we all sometimes make mistakes. We can do stuff. We can go back and get refunds. I can order something on Amazon. Doesn't fit me. I refund, get my money back. Why can't they make the right decision? I don't understand that.
I think because they have to admit that human error is a true thing. And that if they admit human error, then that means that they have to open up this can of worms and look at all these past fights and past potentials that they have to overturn and things like that, and I don't understand why my hands have to be tied because they don't want to be at fault for this, but that's okay. Right. That's okay. We are going to continue to whoop some fucking ass, right? And in my mind, I'm still on that win streak. I'm still that bitch. I'm still on top of the world, and we're going to continue to fucking keep dominating. That's how I feel.
It definitely is. Keep the energy, girl. Keep the energy. It's definitely very difficult to overturn just about anything, and it's an issue with commissions, I'll admit. So it's I agree. I think it's very difficult for them to admit when mistakes are made and to take accountability. I think we run into that problem with judging a lot, but we won't get too into that just yet. I want to talk about this next matchup. So I've actually trained. I train currently with Jackie, and I have trained before with Talita. So I know how incredibly high level both their jiu-jitsu is. So I'm interested to hear your take on this next matchup against another, you yourself are a high level jiu-jitsu practitioner. You're fighting yet another high level jiu-jitsu girl. And how are you looking at this matchup? How do you think it could be similar to your last matchup, and how do you think it differs?
I mean, I think it's the same exact opponent, but a little bit different, like it's the same opponent, different person. And actually, funny enough, Talita and I used to train together back in like 2011 to 2014, on and off in the gi. Back when I was like a white belt and she was a blue belt, we both came from GF team. So we both have the same like jujitsu pedigree and background. She continued doing like a lot of the gi stuff and a lot of the jujitsu stuff, where I went to submission only and then started doing a lot more MMA stuff. So, but we did like kind of rise together when it comes to jujitsu and how like we came about. So I'm very familiar with Talita, and I think it's very interesting that they matched me up with her for her stage of her career. But listen, I was definitely willing to sign the dotted line, and I'm super excited for this fight matchup.
Yeah, win bonus, maybe a finish bonus. Hey, the money adds up for sure. Vanessa, I love seeing everything else you do, even outside the octagon. Stuff for UFC Fight Pass and stuff for JITS competitions and podcasts and stuff. How much do you love that side of the game? And do you foresee in 5 years, 3 years, 8 years, whenever you maybe are done inside the octagon, would you love to do kind of that side full time?
Listen, I love fighting, right? And like the same way that we're all sitting here like talking about fighting and we're also practitioners, you guys are doing this. This is something that like I love to do. I love to actively fight. I love talking about fighting. I love watching fights. You want to pay me to talk about fighting? Let's go. Like that's like there's nothing more exciting than that for me. So to be able to have the opportunity to do things like commentating and reporting, I also love watching people shine. And I think that's so important for me, like to be the athlete and know when it's my moment, and then to be able to give that opportunity to other athletes that maybe don't recognize that they have that moment. And as a reporter, when I'm in that position, I get to ask them questions and allow them to light up and give them the platform to shine and allow them to have that moment, because that moment is so important and that moment is so fleeting. And I want to be able to give them an opportunity and something that they can like not only look back on, but capitalize on. And I just love that. Like, I love everything about the fight game. Not only actively being aggressive, but also helping other people. So it's like both aspects are really cool for me.
Real quick before you question now, dude, people are loving your background. Like, the clock is pretty cool. They go off topic, Vanessa. I love your bookshelf over your shoulder. People are loving your spot. Love it.
Thank you.
Makes me feel really self-conscious about my bare walls.
Come on, Elle. Come on.
Thank
I
you
gotta
so
decorate.
much.
Can we get some dump truck pictures behind you? What are we doing? All right.
I have a dump truck.
Yeah, whoop, whoop. We know she got a dump truck over there. Yeah, these are, I mean, I'm actually like, I'm a huge reader. Oh, you have a real dump truck.
Yeah. Massive.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm a huge reader.
Okay.
I love reading books. This is actually a book that I wrote. I've written like a few books, but this
You wrote
is
a
the only
book?
one that I've actually published. So.
I know about this book, Dave. This book is called The Stripper Bible. And I definitely, I know you've told your story a lot.
What?
But you've told your story. You were a homeless teen. You had issues with addiction. I know you've told this story before, but if you could just sum up for the fans that are watching live who haven't heard your story, just like how you got to where you are now, because it really is incredible.
Yeah, so I mean, I was like a stripper, like a real one. I mean, oh, I'm an exotic entertainer. No, I was a stripper. All around the world, definitely all around the country. I literally would get flown in to different cities to teach these girls how to make money, how to hustle, mindset, also how to give lap dances. I was a competitive pole dancer around the country when pole dancing was like first hitting the scene. Back before it was like really cool the way it is now. Like it was super taboo back then. And I just always loved it. And I looked at like the athleticism, and that's actually how I was discovered as a fighter, because I was in the strip club and all the girls kept wanting to fight me. And the manager was like, you know, if you put that same skill that you put towards the pole into something like fighting, you might do something with your life. And honestly, he was like kind of talking shit to me, but I was like, all right, teach me how to fight. And actually at this time, I know it's like really hard to imagine, but I had like a bunch of piercings. I had like 13 piercings all over. I had like my trachea pierced. And I had dreadlocks and like really bad attitude. So yeah, and then fighting like really humbled me and helped to keep me sober. I was like already wanting to start doing that, but like I quit doing absolutely everything cold turkey. I took fighting really seriously off the rip. I was training 3 times a day right away, and it really just like gave me something to hang on to, aside from a pole. And I kept fighting and dancing at the same time. And even like when I got into the UFC, I was still stripping. And it wasn't until I was getting ready for one of my fights, I was just like, you know what? I'm trading money for my dreams. And I quit dancing like 6 weeks before the fight, where I got knocked unconscious and did jujitsu unconscious, and then won a bonus and jumped into Joe Rogan's arms. So yeah.
Yeah, we have to talk about that too as well. Like a very iconic video. What was that the plan from the beginning? And how did you decide, like, I'm gonna jump into Joe Rogan's arms?
Yeah, that was my plan actually. I had like done it to my teammate. Like, okay, I mean, obviously, I feel like I love studying human behavior, and I'm like, Joe's a fucking cool dude. Like, he's totally going to accept this. I feel like he's gonna go with the moment. And he totally did. He vibed out with it. And like, there was a teammate in the gym, and I walked up to him and I put my arm on him, and then I placed my leg up, and he naturally just like wants to go scoop it up. And then like I jumped on him and I was like, I'm gonna do this to Joe Rogan next week. And he's like, don't do that. He's like, please don't do that. I was like, oh, I'm doing it.
Oh, it's a thing now. You know, Bisping, it's a thing. It is for sure a thing.
Is there anybody who has told you they do not want you to jump into their arms post-fight?
No. And even like Laura Sanko was like, if I ever get to interview you, like this is happening.
I love
like
Laura.
we practiced.
Yeah.
I remember the one time I hit up Bisping and I was like, hey dude, I've jumped into your arms twice now. I'll jump into my coach's arms instead to like keep you from having to sleep on the couch. Like you have a very beautiful wife and I don't like, I'm not trying to get
better.
Yeah. And bless her heart, like I've met her a few times and she's the sweetest. I've met all of their wives except for Paul Felder's wife, but yeah, like everybody's really, really cool. Thankfully, everybody's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah. It's, I think, like I said, like it really is. It's a thing. I even think the fans look forward to it. Hey, when Vanessa Demopoulos wins, this is what we are wanting. It's a part of, you know, whatever the stick of fighting.
Yeah, fans actually pick me up all the time too. I just have to make sure that they're not going to drop me because I've been dropped before.
It's so funny you said that. I was out there. I was covering the Canelo fight. It was Mexican Independence Week, and it was for UFC Noche. And I actually saw you. You were with a friend. I'm trying to think of her name, and you were out there. You know when it was Noche. Remember, it was like outside in front of the Sphere. I saw you out there, and me. I never want to like mess with you or take any of your time, but so many people were coming up to you, fans were coming up to you, taking pictures, and I saw you from afar. Like, you were so nice, Vanessa. Like, you said yes to everyone. You were very cool to people, and that just from afar, and someone in this space, I was like, dude, that was pretty awesome. Like, you didn't do that for the camera. No one saw it. I saw it from afar, and you were just super cool to a lot of the fans. I thought that was awesome.
Thank you for that. I really
of course.
love people,
I think it was it Shauna?
Yeah.
Yes,
it
right?
was Shauna.
Okay.
Yeah, another UFC fighter.
Yes, I remember it. And like I said, I was there covering Canelo, but it was like the Noche thing was after one of his press conferences. It just worked out perfect. It was awesome. But I wanted to give you that kudos. You were phenomenal to the fans. That was cool. But real quick, back to fighting. The champion in your weight class, Zhang Wei Li, just had a great performance a couple weeks ago. There's talks of her moving up, maybe not. What you think about, one, the champion, and do you think she should move up maybe for that super fight with Valentina?
Oh my gosh, the champion. Yeah. What, like, Weili is a powerhouse. Like, that girl is something to be dealt with. Are you kidding me? The performance that she put on against Tatiana, and I love Tatiana. I see her almost every single day. And to me, like, Tatiana is like on this pedestal of like such a pedigree of an athlete, right? Like, her whole life has been athletics and wrestling. And for Weili to do what she did, how she did it, beyond impressive. Beyond impressive. I don't see anything for her in the strawweight division. Although she can make the weight, there's literally no challenge in this division for her. So I think there is nothing for her to do but to move up. Like, she's literally definition of somebody who's actually cleared a division.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
and like there's nothing to be held back on for her moving up. You see a lot of times these athletes that are like bouncing around divisions, and it's like, there's so much left to do in your division, right? But she's one that there's no mistake.
I said Ilya.
Oh,
come on, right? Dude, he defended the belt once.
Yeah, like, dude.
I feel like rightfully defended the belt like once or twice, and he's like, okay, bye guys. Like,
I know. And like our argument, me and I think both have been on it. Like, one, there's Diego Lopez. Mosarv is literally undefeated in your division. You could have a rematch against one of those legends of Volk and Max. Like, it just seemed a little bit early, a little premature. Maybe you've seen that in your past line of duty. You know, I don't know.
Yeah, extremely premature of Ilya, I feel like, to move up. And even like with the Volk fight, right? Like, I feel like Volk was the second time that he got knocked out, like he had come back a little bit too soon.
Yeah.
And he was trying to be the superhero when he needed to heal. And I feel like he was already compromised walking into that. Yeah, there's just like, I mean, God's timing is always perfect. And I feel like he really has had a lot of like perfect storms to build this character. It's same thing with Islam Makhachev, right? Like, these like short notice guys are just like coming in for an opportunity where Islam has been like beyond mentally prepared as a champion. And he's just getting to like storm through these guys. And it looks so freaking cool to the optics. But also, who are we truly challenging here? Because I feel like they're mashing things up appropriately, and then things are falling out, and the timing is just amazing for their trajectories.
I agree. Oh, anything else for Vanessa?
No, absolutely. I'm so glad we got to chat with about just your story and everything. Dave, I know Dave had a really great question for you that he wanted to ask you.
You want me to do the phone one?
Phone call. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, here we go.
What?
This has been our thing, Vanessa, for like the last couple of weeks. So far, people like it. So it's 2:47 here on the East Coast. That means it's probably 11:47 in Vegas, 11:47 a.m. Right?
Yes.
Okay. If you had to make a phone call right now, and they had to answer, and if they answered, you would win $20 million. But if they don't answer this phone call, you would go to jail for a year. Who are you calling right now at 11:48 a.m.?
I don't know, man. Most of my friends don't answer right away. Like, they're all so fucking busy.
I know it's not Jason. I know it's not Jason.
You know what? Yeah, dude. Honestly, he answers quite a bit.
Yes. Never.
You know what? Jacob answers.
Always answers. That's actually a good pick.
There we go.
Yes. And I do have a friend, Delon, who answers even if he's at work. He's like, oh my God, I'm at work. Do you need something? I'll call you back. Bye.
Yes. We all have that person. Yes. There we go.
Thanks, Dave.
We found them.
Dave's my number one call. He answers more than my own husband.
Your husband?
My husband doesn't even answer the phone most of the time, but Dave does.
I like that.
My go-to.
Good character.
Went the right direction
there. We're co-buddies for life. You know, we're attached for life. There we go. Dude, Vanessa, you were awesome. We are massive fans of you. We've been following your career for a while. Like I said, it was awesome to what you did over there and Noche and stuff. And like I said, I love what you're doing outside the cage, the podcasting and the commentary and all that stuff. So everything that you do, we watch, and we're just massive fans of you.
Wait. I have to tell you something.
Yeah.
I get interviewed all the time this was actually like a lot of fun. Like, yeah, like, yeah, you guys just like flow and like have fun, and this was dope. This was dope.
Well,
So
appreciate
good job,
that. Hey,
guys.
we would love to do this more often. We'll message you, or we'll message through Ed. We'll get it going. We would love to talk to you more often.
Yeah, be amazing and have a great day, guys.
You too, Vanessa. Thank you so much. Vanessa Demopoulos fighting April 5th at the UFC Apex. There we go.
Oh, she was a blast. Yeah. Now, we might have to have Jackie come on the show and tell her side of the story, since we got a little bit heated at the very beginning. I think that I honestly don't remember the fight too well. So
it was bad. It was bad.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we have to ask Jackie to share her side of the story.
We want to see both sides. We're not, blue state, red state. We want to hear it all.
Switzerland here at Fight Bananas. We want to talk to everybody. We're not biased at all.
Oh no, I am super biased, and I'm Dave. So there you go.
Oh, Vanessa was great. It was lovely to have her. Really, really glad we got to hear her story and everything.
Yeah. I knew that was. I thought that was like. I heard that was some of her past. I actually didn't know that much into it like that. Yeah. I didn't know she was still doing it when she was a UFC fighter. That's wild. Like,
yeah, and like literally was like a homeless as a child, like as a minor. Which is how she like ended up in that line of work. So like really her story really is incredible. So
it is. And like I feel like we hear stories in other sports about that, but in the UFC, I feel like we don't hear that a lot. Like how much mixed martial arts one can change people's life and demeanor and everything. And then when you make it to I'm telling you guys, she does stuff for the UFC Fight Pass. Like to me, Vanessa Demopoulos has a career for the rest of her life, probably. Like she's putting a lot of effort on it. She's good. Like I've seen her. She does jits competitions. She's very bubbly. She can communicate very, very well. And I think Fight Bananas are always looking for talent. You know what I mean? We're always looking for people like that.
She has a future after fighting as well, with obviously with commentary, with journalism, with working the desk for the UFC, for ESPN. Yeah. She absolutely has a future there.
Yeah.
There is a question I want to go back to before, because I think it's a really good talking point from Christopher J. Chris said, our former football players, we were talking about Austin Lane earlier, that transitioned to MMA more chinny, which I do want to say, I did think Austin looked good until he got caught, which happens at heavyweight all the time. I did think he looked good. Are they more chinny than fighters who just did MMA their whole lives? I have no evidence to support this, like statistical evidence, but I think so. I think that football is probably harder on the brain than MMA is. Hear me out. Like you're not necessarily getting hit by one person, and you're not necessarily getting hit by somebody your own size. You are getting tackled by guys who are often bigger than you, and you might get hit from behind when you can't see it, which like the rates of whiplash in the NFL and professional football are super high. It's really hard on your neck, which has a lot of effects on the brain. I think football is incredibly dangerous for the brain. And at the very least with MMA, if you get knocked out, the fight is over. Like you are not going to get concussion upon concussion, and you're probably only fighting a couple times a year. And I think now the way people train in MMA is much smarter than it was, maybe 15, 20 years ago. I don't think people are getting knocked out in the gym as much either. So I would say, yes, I think football sets you up to maybe have more problems with your chin in MMA later on, because you do take a lot of head trauma playing a sport like football.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a great point out, and
I have nothing to support this. It's a theory.
I think it's a good theory. And another thing I will say, I throw this out there all the time, like my kids right now play soccer, baseball, t-ball, like they're growing up in the sport world. Like there's certain things that you learn young, like, dude, my 6-year-old, I had so many people say, hey, they saw Emmy running around the bases. Like there's ways to run around the bases. Like you don't just run in a straight line, then straight line. Like you kind of do like an arc thing, and the best baseball players in the world do it even better than others. To me, that's the same way in fighting. If you grow up in mixed martial arts or in karate or jits, like I think there's certain ways to fall. I think there's even certain ways to get hit. Like when you miss, and me and Grant talked about this last week with the whole Bobby thing. When you miss, you kind of know you're about to get hit. You know you're going to get countered. When you punch, it's like, oh shit, he's not there. You know you're going to get it. I hear there's even like ways to get hit. Like you can, I don't know, just how you move and shoulder and just like how you can take punches. I just think there's a different thing of just a total,
like not getting hit clean. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Like Floyd Mayweather never got hit clean ever. Like he just knew how to roll and go with punches.
One of the best ever to do it, you know?
Yeah.
I do want to pull up Sean's comment too. I don't think rugby is even close to the level of brain trauma that football sees. I think it's a very different sport. I actually got to play rugby. When I studied abroad in Australia, I played, they have like intramurals. They don't have like real college sports there, but they might at other universities, but ours didn't. But I played like intramural rugby. I was terrible, but it was super fun. But rugby is like, you have like, it's push and pull. You don't stop and then sprint full force to start a play the way you do in football. Like it's a lot. You get tackled, not the guys that are getting tackled in rugby. They're not getting tackled as hard as these NFL players are getting tackled. I really don't think it's the same. I think football is probably one of the most dangerous and most difficult sports out there.
All right. We have 5 minutes left in the show. I have a great, fun last thing. Elle Dawson, are you ready to play UFC 13? What are you excited for?
What am I excited for?
Yep. But wait. That's the name of the game. I should have like a insert thing. What is the most hype fight on the card for you for UFC 13? Did you freeze? She froze, right, people? Okay. There we go. Elle Dawson froze. So I'm going to play the game single-handedly. There's 3 minutes left in the show. Her computer probably smashed. To me, the most exciting fight for me is for sure it's Ankalaev and Alex. I can't wait for this fight. Oh, I think she's back. You back?
Absolutely not. No. Okay, I'm back yeah. Now. I was the most excited for Gaethje and Hooker. And I'll be honest, I want to see what happens in that fight? Yes. Is it the one that I think is just going to be like the bangerest of the bangers and I'm just so pumped for that? No, I think that's probably Jalen Turner and Ignacio Bahamondes.
So that's the fight you're most excited for? Okay.
Honestly, yeah. I think that's going to be either it's going to be a banger or Jalen Turner's going to knock out Ignacio Bahamondes really, really early. And I'm going to be wrong. Right. But I'm excited for that fight.
Well, the second question is, what was the most underrated banger of UFC 313?
Underrated banger. You mean?
To me, it's Turner and Ignacio. It's underrated. It's so good.
Yeah. I could also see Bobby Green and Roofy being pretty freaking awesome too. Because I don't think there's going to be any grappling in that fight at all. That's going to be a grappler. I think that's going to be really fun. But I was trying to look at the card so I could make sure I'm not leaving out anything.
Yeah, look at it.
Super exciting on the prelims. My boy Rizvan is getting that fight against Curtis Blades.
Well, okay. Well,
I'm excited to see that. I don't know if that's an underrated banger, but that's one I'm personally excited to see.
What fight is guaranteed to be finished?
Ooh, guaranteed to be finished?
Yep.
I'm going with Jalen Turner and Ignacio Bahamondes.
What fight is guaranteed not to go finish, not to go the distance?
To go the distance?
Yes, ma'am. We got 5 more too, by the way.
Okay.
Minute and 25 seconds.
Ooh. I think Myron Santos and Francis Marshall is going.
Nice. Great call.
Super tough guys, both of them.
What's your lock of the card?
My lock of the card? Jalen Turner.
Okay.
If he fights.
Your underdog pick of UFC 313.
Rizvan.
The biggest superstar on UFC 313.
Biggest superstar. I'm sorry. My underdog pick is Francis Marshall. Forgot he was a dog.
Your husband's cornering him.
I forgot he was an underdog for a second because I do think he will win. Sorry. What was the last question?
The biggest superstar in UFC 313.
Biggest superstar. Probably Alex Pereira.
Yes, that is the answer. prospect to watch on UFC 313?
I'm going to say this wrong. Ray Saruya, who is stepping up on short notice to fight Joshua Van. Because
very
Bruno's
good prospect.
10-0.
What fighter has the most to lose at UFC 313?
Probably Justin Gaethje.
I agree because if he loses, he never has that big fight probably again. If Alex loses, he's fighting again.
Right.
So the answer, I think, is pretty obvious. What fighter has the most to gain this Saturday at UFC 313?
Magomed Ankalaev.
Okay. I agree. That's pretty good. Isn't that a fun game?
That is really fun. We should do that every week. Maybe we should do that every pay-per-view, because that might be hard to do on some of the fight nights. But.
I like it. I found it. I'm like, dude, this is a good game. Great show. Dude, Chris, thank you, man. I can't express this enough. Your input and comments, everyone always in the comment section. We love it. It brings up conversations and topics, and we appreciate that very, very much. All of you guys. Ooh, Rizvan and Francis on a parlay. Playing the money.
Parlay right there. Let's go.
Elle Dawson, phenomenal show by you today. You brought it. You brought the heat today. I'm not going to lie.
Thanks, guys. Thank you guys in the comments. This was fun.
You're the best. The best.
Ooh, I missed this one too. This was good. Bruno Ferreira definitely getting a finish or getting finished. I agree.
That's a good one too. Very good.
Shot of God.
All right, guys. We have multiple more interviews coming throughout the week. I think we have Christian Rodriguez getting interviewed today or tomorrow. Elle, I think we got
we have Shepe Mariscal tomorrow at 2:30 Eastern, coming off a really fun and very big win.
Shepe's coming on this show tomorrow?
Shepe is coming on this show tomorrow.
What? Dang, that's good. Dude, how good was Vanessa Demopoulos? She brought it.
Yeah.
Also, shout out to Karisa Maxwell, guys. I'm telling you, I don't know how we're gonna make it happen. We need more Karisa Maxwell under the Fight Bananas banner. We've talked about it a couple of times. Francis and Grant Dawson are right now.
Actually, they should be there by now, I think.
All right,
probably. They left really early. It's too early.
Elle Dawson's upset, guys.
When
she brings up something 2 or 3 times, she is upset. All right, guys, we'll see everyone next Tuesday. Enjoy. I think we're going to do a watch along for UFC 313, multiple or more interviews. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. We appreciate it. We'll see everyone on this show next Tuesday.